This is just a pretty straightforward question. Nothing too confusing, nothing too complicated. You should all know about this by now. When they finally showed off the 3DS, they announced a bunch of games that were going to be remade for the system, both Nintendo and third-party games, such as Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. So that's the question. What other games would you like to see remade for the 3DS? Already seeing two of my favorite N64 games being remade for the 3DS, why not go for the hat trick? I would personally love to see my third favorite N64 game being remade, Banjo-Kazooie. On to those of you who are saying, oh, that can't happen because Microsoft owns Rare. Oh gee, really? I didn't know that. I guess the whole thing just won't work. What, are you kidding me? Rare can still make games for Nintendo's handhelds because Microsoft doesn't have one. To those of you who still don't get the idea, then explain to me why Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge, Banjo Pilot, Diddy Kong Racing DS, and Viva Pinata were made for the handheld developed by Rare when they were purchased by Microsoft. They can still make them for Nintendo's handheld, so why not bring it to the 3DS? And while we're at it, bring Banjo-Tooie on board. Yeah, I didn't like Banjo-Tooie as much as Banjo-Kazooie, but since it could hold multiple cartridges at the same time, don't you think that could make an excellent use for, Stop and Swop? Hey, if they would actually bring that back, I would finally be able to forgive them. Oh, but they brought it back for nuts and bolts. Really? You think that was its original intention, was to unlock car parts? No, I don't believe that for a second. Anyway, remake these two games, bring back what was supposed to be the true intention of Stop and Swap, and it'll sell so many systems, it'll make your head spin. While still on the subject of my favorite N64 games, especially since a lot of these games being remade for the 3DS are from the 64, a lot of talk seems to be there about people wanting to see Super Smash Bros. From the N64 brought onto the 3DS. I can understand that logic, it makes perfect sense to me, but when you look at what the 3DS is capable of, why stop with just the first one? If anything, wouldn't people want to see a remake of Super Smash Bros. Melee? You know, just get rid of the wave dashing, the L canceling, add some online, maybe a few extra characters that may or may not have been put into the final version. You know, some extra levels, some extra stuff. I don't want to see a remake of Brawl, but I would like to see a remake of Melee. I think a lot of other people would like to see that. Maybe I'll just leave that up to the question, which one would you rather see remade? When Mega Man Legends 3 was announced, you can bet that caused a lot of excitement to the fans who love the first two. Now, I've only been able to play the first one on the 64, but I still don't see why they can't remake that one, and possibly the second one, if they're making a third one for the 3DS. I'm not sure what they could add or what they could do, but hey, maybe a little Wi-Fi. I mean, if you're able to customize your weapons, maybe you could trade with other people, and maybe have an arena where you can battle against them with your own customized weapons. I don't know, that's just something to think about. Finally, I noticed that Hudson is making a Bomberman game for the 3DS. Please don't make it a Bomberman Land. I don't have any interest in those games. I have no reason to play them. I would much rather see a remake of Bomberman 64 and Bomberman 64 The Second Attack. Maybe even Bomberman Hero, but mainly just Bomberman 64. I mean, just remake that, polish the graphics, give it Wi-Fi, give it a better health system. Yeah, I know, this was a very, very, very short video, but I don't have that many games that I would like to see remade, and remember, I don't expect to see these games remade, I would just love to see them get remade. That's why I'm not putting GoldenEye on there, because I'm not even putting in even the slightest bit of hope that it'll be remade. There's too many complications with that altogether. However, I can definitely predict which two games I'm going to see the most of in the comments about which games should be remade, those being Majora's Mask and Conker's Bad Fur Day. I can read you guys like a book sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Just like you guys can predict what I would like to see made. I'm betting a couple of you knew what I wanted.